What different types of candy do fire type Pokemon have? So notice how this is different. We've had what different types of candy before, but this is the first time we've been specific about which Pokemon documents we're concerned with. So if we look at these documents, there's a field called type that is an array that this one has grass and poison. This next one has fire, so there's one that has fire. The next one has fire and flying. So some of them have fire and some of them don't. And we only want the documents that have fire in the type. So here's a time when we want to use the match stage. So we're going to use aggregate, the aggregate function, but the first stage that we're going to do is a match. And this will let us select the documents that we want to work with at the very beginning. So at the very beginning we'll narrow down how many we want to work with. And the ones that we want are the ones that have field type with a value fire in them. So this is, type is an array, and when we just do it this way, then it will pick any one that has fire in the array anywhere in the array, and that's what we want. So if fire's in there anywhere, we want to select that document. So right now, instead of using all the documents in the collection, we're only using the ones that have fire as one of the elements in the type. And that's going to be our first stage, and it narrows what we do. Then we're going to use those results to do the next one, which will be a group stage. And this one will look like it is before. We need the underscore ID, and we're going to be grouping those by candy. So that's what our grouping is going to be. And then the next thing that we need is the total candy count. So I'm going to do total, oh no, the first thing we need is how many of that candy there are. So this is just a count of how many documents there are for that candy. So we'll do count, and this is going to be a sum, and just the sum of one. It's just going to do the count. Then the next one is the total candy count. So I'm going to say total candy. So I'll call this field. And then this one's going to also be a sum, but it's not just going to count, it's going to be the sum of the candy count. So it will use the candy count. Oh, and that's not a curly brace, that's a quote. All right, now the next one is the average of candy count. So this one is going to use, we'll call it average count. And this is going to use the average operator, and it's also going to be on candy count. Okay, that's the second stage. Now the last thing we have to do is the sort stage, because we're supposed to list it in order by how many there are with the largest first. So this is going to be sort, and we're going to be sorting on the count. And then we need to decide what order, ascending or descending. The largest first, so it'll get smaller, so that's descending. Okay, let's see what we've got. And we run that, and there we go. So we've got all of the different unique types, but notice how our counts are very different, because now we just have the ones that have fire in the array. So we have much fewer in our data set that we're working with. And these are just the ones with fire. And it also has their candy total and their average count.